Heironeous, the Invincible, the Arch-Paladin, epitomizes the virtues of rightful combat and chivalrous deeds. As the patron of honor, justice, and the establishment of fair order, his presence resonates among those who seek to uphold righteousness in the world. Once revered solely by officers, leaders, and paladins, Heironeous has extended his benevolent embrace to encompass all who take up arms in the name of goodness and justice. From the common soldier to the seasoned warrior, he stands as the guiding light, a beacon of courage and virtue in the face of darkness. Far beyond the Empyrean Empire, in the western end of the continent of Urik, lay the ancient birdlands of the Iridian people. In those lands once existed a large kingdom, with a king whose sons had not survived adulthood. He had married a succession of the daughters of his chiefs and liegemen, hoping each might be fertile enough to bear him a son strong enough to pass his crown to, but alas, none did. Finally, in the winter of his years, he took his last wife, the young daughter of a minor chief. She bore him only one child, a daughter who they named Alia. She was special and was known as the Shield Maiden, and due to being dour and serious, earned the nickname of Stern. Unbeknownst to stern Alia, she was actually born from a union between her mother, the queen, and the sky god, Heironeous. Stern Alia, so the legends tell us, was a demigoddess who used to be worshipped by the old Iridians, but is currently hardly worshipped in the Flanace. Although most stories agree on the origin of the Shield Maiden and that she birthed Heironeous, there are many versions of him having Hextor and Stratis as either brothers or half-brothers. However, just as Stern Alia was a complex woman, so was her son, especially because he did not have a mortal father. A myth floats in a few ancient books, hidden in personal libraries of theologists, kept safe from mortal eyes and ears. This myth talks about the hardship of Heironeous' personal life and emotional state, that Hextor, Heironeous, and Stratis were not rival brothers at all, but are the different personalities he shifted through. Throughout the centuries, his followers became divided, and in the end, only the Hextorian faith and the Heironean faith existed, polar opposites of each other, but in fact, one faith that had a schism. In his most common portrayal, Heironeous appears as a tall and muscular man, radiating strength and confidence, with metallic coppery skin, auburn hair and amber eyes. He is dressed in fine chainmail, forged of unknown material from the seven heavens, which gives it a shine. His face bears the noble visage of one born out of divinity, with piercing eyes that burn with righteous fury, ablaze with the fervor of unwavering resolve. At birth, his skin was imbued with a magical substance called meersalm, making him invulnerable to all but the most powerful weapons, and giving his skin an unusual coloration. In his hand, Heironeous bears a mighty battle axe of ethereal craftsmanship that strikes fear into the hearts of darkness, cleaving through the shadows that seek to engulf the world in despair. Surrounding the war god is an aura of crackling energy, reminiscent of lightning and thunder. His voice echoes across the heavens, like the peal of a silver trumpet, calling upon the hearts of mortals to rise up against the forces of darkness and tyranny. Heironeous' attitude towards other faiths is simple. Those that fight for the side of good are his allies, while those who promote evil or suffering are his enemies. However, the following deities need some highlighting. Pelor, the god of the sun and healing, is another deity with whom Heironeous maintains a harmonious relationship. Pelor's benevolent nature and emphasis on compassion align well with Heironeous' ideals of protection and guardianship. The two deities often work together to bring hope and healing to the world, particularly in times of strife and darkness. Heironeous also shares a close relationship with Cuthbert, the god of wisdom and common sense. Both deities uphold principles of law and order, although their approaches may differ. Cuthbert's emphasis on discipline and pragmatism complements Heironeous' focus on valor and righteousness. Together, they often collaborate to combat evil and uphold justice in the world, even though their churches compete for control over Furiandi. Perhaps the most significant rival to Heironeous is Hextor, the god of tyranny and discord, and his half-brother. Hector embodies the antithesis of Heironeous' ideals, promoting oppression and cruelty instead of justice and valor. The conflict is long-standing, starting when Hector betrayed their brotherly bond and their followers are engaged in a perpetual struggle against each other that often escalates, tearing down kingdoms. Heironeous exemplifies all the best knightly qualities: chivalry, justice, honor, daring, and valor. Although originally an Iridian god, his worship has spread beyond those people to all who believe in bravery, order, and the right to act against evil. He teaches that the faithful must uphold the virtues of justice and chivalry and strike down those who pervert and destroy these ideals. They face danger with certainty and calm so as to set an example for others. For the arch-paladins chosen, glory is the reward for defeating evil, and virtue comes from upholding the tenets of the faith. He prefers daring and aggressive tactics, but understands the need for conservative strategies, especially when greatly outnumbered or limited in resources. His chivalrous code requires a soldier to accept an enemy's surrender, although any treachery on the part of the prisoners is justification for a swift execution. Likewise, he teaches that harming civilians is always evil and unjust. The world is a dangerous place, full of evil things waiting for the opportunity to strike. Those with the strength to stand up to evil are honor-bound to do so. Although primarily a god of aggressive action, he teaches virtues of vigilance, protection, loyalty, kindness, and sacrifice to ensure the safety and health of the weak and helpless. Heironeous teaches that those in power have a duty to protect those weaker and less able than they. These people, in turn, are to obey their social betters and conform to whatever societal norms are in place. Heironeous frowns on those who put glory in battle before the protection of the weak and innocent, or who refuse to exploit tactical advantages for the sake of abstract honor or chivalry when dealing with evil creatures. For example, having the cleverness and wisdom to ambush the orcish horde during the day, allowing the enemy to retreat to save the life of an innocent, and using clever deceptive tactics to play on an enemy's fears in a time of war, these are all great deeds, or so say many branches of the Heironian faith. Vigilance is important, but not to the extent that it causes good to mistakenly turn on its own in suspicion. One must act honorably at all times, as the ends do not justify the means. But honor does not dictate foolishness. A lone knight against a powerful demon is not barred from using stealth to find the best position from which to attack. Trickery and outright deception, though, is always unacceptable. At its core, the symbol of Heironeous is simple yet striking: a clenched fist grasping a lightning bolt. This iconic image represents strength, determination, and the swift justice that Heironeous brings to those who champion righteousness. The clenched fist symbolizes the unwavering resolve of Heironeous' followers in the face of adversity. It speaks of their commitment to uphold justice and defend the innocent, even in the darkest times. The fist is a symbol of solidarity and unity, signifying the bond shared by all who align themselves with the ideals of Heironeous. Entwined with the fist is a lightning bolt, a potent symbol of divine power and righteous wrath. It represents the swift and decisive action taken by Heironeous to smite evil and bring about justice. The lightning bolt serves as a reminder of Heironeous' role as a beacon of hope and a force for good in the world. As you approach, the grandeur of the temple becomes apparent. Its architecture reflects the values and virtues associated with Heironeous, embodying strength, righteousness, and order. Temples stand tall and imposing, its walls constructed of sturdy stone, adorned with intricate carvings depicting scenes of heroism and triumph. The entrance is often marked by a pair of massive bronze doors, each intricately decorated with symbols of Heironeous: a clenched fist holding a lightning bolt, a radiant sunburst, and a sword raised high. His temples are fortresses disguised under beautiful architecture. As you step inside, you are greeted by the sight of a vast interior, filled with light streaming in from high stained glass windows. The colors of the windows depict scenes from the tales of Heironeous, battles against evil, acts of bravery, and moments of divine intervention. The colors of blue and silver are always prominent. At the far end of the temple stands an altar, and behind it stands a copper statue of the god in silver mail, with 7 silver bolts radiating from behind his head. And as you explore further, you will discover chambers dedicated to training and meditation, where followers of Heironeous hone their physical skills and cultivate their inner strength. These chambers serve as a testament to the disciplined and rigorous path embraced by the faithful of Heironeous. Temples usually have a well-stocked armory as well. His church is the favored state religion of Nyrond and the Shieldlands, and his faith is also strong in Bissell, the northern half of Furiondi, Grand March, the Free City of Irongate, Keelland, Sterridge, and the County of Ernst. These are the anathema of the faith. Abandon a companion in need. Dishonor yourself. Refusing an order given by a superior. Refuse a challenge from an equal. Refuse to fight evil and oppression. As a god of chivalry and patron of paladins, Heironeous has a chivalric code. Perhaps the earliest example of its kind. The Heironian Code consists of these 3 sets of duties. Duty to the people. This pertains to mercy, courage, valor, justice, protection of the weak, and fidelity to church superiors and officers of just law. Included in this part of the code is the willingness to give your life to save another, whether for a poor peasant, a knight, or a king. This is the aspect of the code that most layfolk and members of other faiths are familiar with, and many paladin orders exemplify the concepts of this duty quite literally. Duty to the host. This pertains to obedience to Heironeous, devotion to the church, and championing good against evil, but also generosity and obeying the needs of the faith and the church above that of mortals. This part of the code allows a cleric to disobey an order if it conflicts with the teachings of his faith or the church. In particular, it means that direct missives from Heironeous or his agents supersede any church law, which prevents corruption in church officials. Duty to a lady. This pertains to courtly love, devotion to a particular lady, and after her all other ladies, with a general respect towards all women. Officially, the code retains this male-oriented language and has no equivalent for female clerics to devote themselves to a particular lord, but in practice, women in the church are held to the same standard as men in regard to dealing with the opposite gender. There are many examples of chaste female clerics oath-binding themselves to just nobles. These are the goals of the faithful. Work as strategists, military instructors or judges. Free the Shieldlands. Travel the world on church orders to seek out and destroy evil. The everyday sayings of Heironeous' faithful tell a great deal about their beliefs and morals. The samples here represent those aphorisms that are most commonly used by today's clergy. A used blade never dulls. This phrase serves as a reminder to keep one's body ready and one's mind sharp, as challenges can rise at any moment. By the Arch-Paladin's skin. This oath refers to Heironeous' magical hardened copper skin, meaning the person swearing the oath considers his word unbreakable and everlasting. Among layfolk, it is used in a similar manner as by the skin of my teeth, implying success by the narrowest margin, perhaps with subtle intervention by the god himself. For honor and valor. This battle cry states 2 of the ideals of Heironeous, reaffirming their role in the mind of the faithful. Because it is assumed that a follower of Heironeous is acting in the name of justice and chivalry, calling out those ideals is not necessary. In effect, it is a request or pledge that the follower's actions earns him honor and demonstrates his valor. It is often used instead of the invincible's name or title when turning undead, or as a closing in a letter. May the axe grow great. Coined by the Knights of the Holy Shielding, it refers to Heironeous' size-changing axe and is used to express the hope that good thrives and grows and the faithful reclaim the Shieldlands, and that better times will come. In recent months it has been used as a battle cry, implying that evil is on the loose and Heironeous is ready to smite it. Right makes might. This expression is a counter to might makes right, an argument used by many tyrants throughout the ages. Heironeans believe that their dedication to the principles of chivalry, justice and honor gives them the might to topple evil, right wrongs, and face incredible horrors without flinching. Their fate is the white lightning that keeps their spine stiff and breaks the backs of oppressors. The invulnerable coat of Arndt. This fine chain shirt was either owned by or created by the legendary Iridian hero Arndt of Thon, who lived ages ago, before the Great Migrations. A humble priest from the south, he is famed for establishing the first paladins of Heironeous among the Iridian tribes. Legends talk about him wearing it while leading a rebellion against the wizard Vertos. It is said to provide greater protection to the wearer and resistance to the elements and most magic. Various legends equate other minor powers with it, and that Arndt's spirit still inhabits the armor that bears his name. The item is famous outside of the church, and many do not know its associations with Heironeous, but his worshippers consider it a sacred artifact of the faith. Meersalm. This is a magical substance unique to the Church of Heironeous, a portion of the same coppery liquid the Invincible's mother, Stern Alia, embalmed him in to make him invulnerable to weapons. The creation of the Church's version of Meersalm is a carefully protected secret. A higher-placed member of the Church who wishes to be embalmed with it must prove his worthiness and pay for it to be manufactured in sufficient quantities for the ritual. Meersalm gives the recipient damage reduction, and if a weapon's damage is completely absorbed, the weapon might even break. Red Thunderbolt. This holy battle axe was forged and consequently wielded by the paladin Ascava Mor 2 centuries ago. She used it to battle the mighty devil servants of Hextor. She even traveled into the Nine Hells to reclaim a magical coffer containing the souls of 7 righteous priests. When she fell to a trio of pit fiends, the axe vanished, and she was spirited away by an angel of Heironeous. The axe is made of magically hardened copper and inscribed with Heironeous' symbol. Unsurprisingly, this great relic is attributed with various powers, and visions of the battle axe sometimes guide young paladins to a greater destiny. If you made it this far and enjoyed my video, please leave a comment and show your support by ringing that bell icon. I want to thank everyone that is already supporting me by sharing my content on other platforms, and liking the videos and spreading the lore. And I especially want to thank the members that sponsor my work and help me keep my gear and software running. If you want to interact more with me, head over to my community tab here on YouTube, or go to the website where you can also join the league and decide on future videos through the sponsor meters. The links are in the description. Until next time.